Hello, everybody. Now we're into December. It's time to take an updated U.S. Senate prediction for 2026. The Dems would need to pick up 4 seats for outright control. That's an uphill climb, but I think everybody is aware of what just happened in 2025 in the elections in Virginia, New Jersey, and even Georgia. If it's anything close to that, even in red states, they're obviously going to get more narrow in 26. It's a different environment. It's going to be a year later, and the big issue is probably still going to be the economy. If voters don't get a good sense that things have kind of rounded a corner on inflation and cost of living, then Republicans could be facing that big blue wave, kind of like they did back in 2018. Now, in that blue wave, Republicans in the Senate technically did come out with a net gain of 2 seats. That kind of defies the narrative, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen this time, but the map is going to be challenging here for the Dems. So let's go through the states. We'll start with the safe ones. Those are expected to be 10 or more points or otherwise not competitive. Now, some of these are very borderline, and it's going to depend on what happens in primaries and over the next 6 months. We'll start with the Dems. I don't think it's controversial that they're going to get Oregon, Colorado, Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, and finally, Virginia. Could one of those states get down under 10? Maybe, but right now, I actually don't really think so. Now let's do the safe states for the Republicans. There's a bunch here. First, it's Idaho. Montana, you could make a case for likely, but for now, I'm going to keep it safe. Then it's Wyoming, South Dakota, Kansas. Potentially, if Sharice Davids jumps in for the Dems, they could get more competitive. For now, it's going to be safe, along with Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana. Bill Cassidy is going to have some competition for his primary against John Fleming. But without former Governor John Bel Edwards for the Dems, this is going to stay safe. Then it's Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama. Then I've got South Carolina, and I think this one is borderline. It's the Lindsey Graham seat. I was kind of on the fence at taking it down to likely out of caution, but for now, I'm going to keep it at safe. Finally, it's West Virginia, super red state. So again, some of those are borderline. But now let's get down to the semi-competitive states. These are going to be the likely ratings of between a 5 and a 10-point margin. First for the Dems, I've got New Mexico. This is the Ben Ray Lujan seat, and this is borderline safe. For right now, I'm still going to keep it at likely. Next, it's Minnesota. Here's an open seat. Dems could be looking at Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan over Angie Craig. At first, I thought Craig would be the nominee. Now, maybe not. Either way, Republicans here don't have much going on. They might be rerunning Royce White, who's not the strongest candidate, so this is going to be likely. One more state in this category, and that's New Hampshire. Now, this is borderline lean likely, but at a federal level, in an expected blue-leaning environment, I'm not expecting Republicans to make this extremely close, let alone flip it. It's an open seat. Dems look like they're all set with Chris Pappas. Republicans, it could be John Sununu or Scott Brown. Either way, I think this is about a 5 to 6 point likely rating. That's for the Dems. Now for the Republicans. First, I've got Alaska. This is the Dan Sullivan seat, and he's not a high-profile senator. I think he's favored, but you never know. The Dems could end up putting up Mary Peltola. Now, if that happens, then this is going to be more competitive than usual. This is not the reddest state out there. They're known for kind of doing their own thing on occasion politically. So kind of a wait-and-see situation, but I'm going to put this at likely and not safe. Next, it's Nebraska. I also had this one at safe. It's coming down to likely. It looks like Dems are, again, likely to not field a candidate. Instead, they're going to back independent Dan Osborne. Now, he ran and lost to Deb Fisher in 24. He's seemingly facing a stronger incumbent this time, but now he has higher name ID. You never know what could happen here. So he could easily lose by over 10, but for now, I'm going to put this at likely. Next, it's Texas. A lot of question marks here about who the nominee is going to be for the Republicans. It's at least a 2, maybe a 3-way race. For the Dems, they also have to figure out who they're going to put up. In the blue wave of 18, Ted Cruz got close to being taken out. 25 was way bluer than expected. So I'm never going to think a state can't possibly flip under any circumstances. But the most reasonable outcome here, this is going to be a mid-single-digit hold for the Republicans. Next in Iowa, this is the Joni Ernst seat. She's retiring. It's likely to be Ashley Hinson for the Republicans. For the Dems, they've got to get through a primary, but right now the markets are pointing to Josh Turek. He doesn't seem like a bad candidate, but at the same time, neither does Ashley Hinson. The lean of the state is clearly toward the right, but it's not impossible here the Dems could put this seat in play if the wave gets big enough. So it is borderline, lean likely. It's another one. It's going to fall just on the other side, about 5 to 6 points and go likely. It's also going to be the exact same thing in Ohio. Looks like a matchup between John Husted and Sherrod Brown. This is the special election to fill the seat formerly held by J.D. Vance. Now, Sherrod Brown did just take a loss to a seemingly non-strong opponent. Husted is more establishment, Brown is tainted. But again, if the wave gets big enough, this seat could be in play. It's another 5-6 borderline likely rating. And there's one more state in this category. That's Florida. This is also a special election. Not much to say here. Ashley Moody was appointed. Dems have to find out who their candidate is going to be. And this one is more borderline likely safe. But out of caution, I'm going to put it at likely just because of the expected national environment. So that should be a pretty easy hold for the Republicans, but it's not an absolute guarantee. Now let's go down to the most competitive states. Lean are under 5% and Tilt are 1% or less. Let's start in Michigan. Dems definitely have to get through a primary. It's unclear who the nominee is going to be. Republicans are rerunning Mike Rogers here, who came very close to winning a Senate seat in 24. Now, if it were a red-leaning environment, maybe even a neutral one, then Republicans could absolutely flip the seat. Given the blue-leaning environment, they could still flip it, but it's going to be much tougher. It should still be closer than a lot of these other states because it's clearly considered a swing state. But my rating here in this environment is going to be a lean for the Dems. Next, we're going to go up to Maine. This is the Susan Collins seat. For the Dems, we don't know if it's going to be Plattner or Mills. There's different trade-offs between those two candidates. And if it is Susan Collins running yet again, she's going to need to get those moderate voters and a few Democrats. Her popularity is in the toilet, but she's been underestimated in the polling significantly back in 2020. So it's pretty much a coin flip right now. I think we're just too far off from any hard data. I had it at lean for the Republicans. Right now, I'm going to take it down to a tilt for the Republicans. I think Collins could still hold on here, but it's not going to be easy. So that state, along with the next state of North Carolina, those are the two most likely to flip. This is the Tom Tillis seat. He's retiring. Republicans probably looking at Michael Whatley here against former Governor Roy Cooper for the Dems. And I think that's the best case scenario for the Dems. We just saw Josh Stein win for governor here in 24 by a landslide. It's the same election that Trump won the state in. Republicans usually have success here for the Senate, but in a likely environment, I think it could move at least a couple of points to the left. That's going to be enough for this state to flip. Cooper could win it by 3 or 4 in the end. Whatley could win it. That's entirely in the conversation. But all things considered, I think the state is a little bit more likely to go blue, but we'll see. Finally, it's Georgia. This is the John Ossoff seat. Republicans have to navigate a primary. It could be Mike Collins, it could be somebody else. But I think Ossoff is going to be favored here, not by a lot, but enough so for me to take this from a tilt to a lean rating. So right now it's at about 1 to 2 points for Ossoff. Could it go red? Yeah, it could. But my rating right now is going to be lean blue. So after that, we've got the final map. It's 52 seats for the Republicans, 48 for the Dems. Dems pick up North Carolina, and that's it. They come extremely close in Maine. After that, their outside targets are going to be Ohio, Iowa, Nebraska, Texas, or Alaska. Republican targets here are going to be few. Their best bet is either going to be Georgia or Michigan. After that, I'd say it'd be a stretch in New Hampshire or Minnesota. If Harris was in the White House, the dynamics could be completely different. But with Trump in there, and given everything we just saw in 25, I think the Dems are going to be more motivated to turn out, and they're going to be trying to expand the map. Now, Republicans might have some sort of a convention. Maybe the economy picks up by then, and enthusiasm goes up. That is possible, but it seems like given the Republicans are in control, the party out of power is ready to make some gains. That's usually what we see in a lot of elections. Everybody in power hopes to defy the trends. But for me, I think it's kind of an easy call to think Dems are at least going to make some gains. Could be a little, could be a lot. It's way too early to have any serious confidence. So now that we're less than a year away, we'll be taking a look at this prediction more often. A lot of these are borderline and up for debate depending on who the candidates are. Those primaries are going to be coming up soon enough. But for now, let me know in the comments. How does your Senate map look for December? Are you spooked by the 25 results where Dems put up big numbers? Do you think Republicans are going to come roaring back by the time of the election? Which states stand out to you the most? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.